This is my first React video, and I'm doing the ultimate impossible places to reach on Earth. This guy is showing them on Google Earth, so let's go with the video here.
Hello, and welcome to the ultimate impossible to reach places on Google Earth. I'm convinced that these locations would be famous and considered among the greatest natural wonders of the entire world if they hadn't become impossible to access due to geography, geopolitics, or unusual events that occurred over the course of human history. Because of their inaccessibility,
that's the main idea of this. The inaccessibility of them is what makes them impossible to reach.
Many of them have some of the most pristine nature remaining on our planet. Number 6 probably won't make this list in a couple years. I have looked across the ocean to number 3, and number 1 is the strangest and most beautiful coastline in the entire world. And
Wait, number 3? I don't know, but yeah. This video should be fun.
Source of a massive dispute between two superpower countries. Number 10 is the Pingualuit Crater in Canada. Located in the frigid expanses of Quebec's Ungava Peninsula, this lake is fascinating for several reasons. Most obvious is its perfectly circular appearance.
What? How does that make sense?
And the fact that water does not flow in or out of it. As you can see, nowhere along its rim is it connected to the vast water.
Well, then how does water stay in it? What? I don't get that part, but yeah.
Networks of Canada. This is a direct result of its origin from a massive meteor impact around 1.4 million years ago that left an 876-foot deep crater with an uplifted rim and a crystallized layer of bedrock underneath. 176-foot deep crater with an uplifted rim and a crystallized layer of bedrock underneath. After the impact, the crater was slowly filled with rain and snow over thousands of years, which is why it has some of the clearest, most ultra-pure water anywhere. The end result is like the biggest, most refreshing cup of water on Earth. I'd love to take a sip.
Who would want to take a sip of that? It just looks like gross water, but also not at the same time. But I don't think I would want to take a sip, personally.
The only problem is, access is extremely restricted for everyone except the local Inuit community. To get there, you need to fly to increasingly small Inuit towns heading north into Quebec, until the nearest village can get you within 55 miles of the crater.
So why would anyone want to go there anyways?
Inuit guides can take you the remainder of the way by hiking or via dog sled or snowmobile in the winter. This is possible, but a massive and costly undertaking, with price tags starting around 10,000 Canadian dollars per person.
Yeah, that's just not worth it then. 10,000 Canadian dollars per person. It's not worth it.
For this reason, only 20 to 60 tourists manage to reach it every year. And that's why it comes in last. As fascinating as it is, this is the only place on this list that can feasibly be reached, even with all the money and time. And
that's why it's number 10. Okay. But it's still very hard. Because of money, basically. And the traveling time. But yeah.
In the world. Take, for example, number 9. Cerro El Cono in Peru. Deep in some of the wildest jungle of the Amazon rainforest, along the Peru-Brazil border, stands a very tall, pyramid-shaped mountain. Not a single photo has been taken of it from up close. Very little is actually known about it, and that has some people believing it is indeed an ancient pyramid.
That doesn't look like a pyramid to me. I think that's just a mountain that is pyramid-shaped. But I don't think it's actually a pyramid. I think it's a mountain.
Now covered by the jungle. It rises about 1,500 feet, and due to its prominence above a flat expanse of forest, it can be seen from extremely far distances, including from the Andes Mountains, 250 miles away. This would make it a fantastic vantage point for the uncontacted tribes who exclusively populate this area, namely the Iskanahua. However, word of mouth from nearby contacted tribes suggests that it may never be scaled by humans, because the mountain is held in such high religious reverence.
Once again, another thing, same as the last one. Why would anyone want to go there? For the view, I guess, but
Possibly seen as a guardian spirit due to its location at the headwaters of large tributaries to the Amazon River. The presence of these uncontacted indigenous people would make attempting an expedition out to it very dangerous. But what really keeps this place untouchable is the Peruvian government's extreme legal protections in this territorial reserve
Wait,
to preserve indigenous sovereignty and
makes sense.
health, which means that not even researchers are allowed within several miles of the base of
Crazy.
Cerro Alcono. This is not the only time we will see that the religious significance of a mountain can lead it to becoming a place where humans have never set foot. Number 8 is Bouvet Island. There is a godforsaken speck of rock standing in the middle of the South Pacific. It is literally the most remote island on Earth.
Crazy.
The nearest human settlement is over 1,400 miles away.
Dang.
And the nearest landmass is Antarctica, around 1,100 miles away.
That's far.
Imagine
for
the
Antarctica,
disappointment
yeah.
lost ships at sea must have felt when they laid eyes upon Bouvet Island. It is a barren dome of rock covered in a windswept shell of ice, but it's hiding a warm secret. Underneath the ice is an active volcano that technically could erupt at any time.
One, I don't think that's a volcano. I don't know. It feels too small to be a volcano. But what do I know?
And it is host to a surprisingly large population of the most hardy seabirds who find it a sanctuary away from predators. Google Earth does a great job of demonstrating how extreme this landscape is. Massive ice sheets slide off on all sides.
Once again, I see how this is impossible. Especially if it's like we're a very remote island like this.
And fall into the ocean and rock below in spectacular fashion.
Okay.
On the southeastern side of the island are waves of colossal size in the classic square-shaped pattern, which is notorious for creating freak waves and rip currents. And I don't think I have ever seen anywhere else on Google Earth where a wave has cast a shadow this large.
It's a big shadow.
Crest of that wave measures a whopping 100 feet wide. This is no surprise, as it lies in the direct path of some of the largest storm systems on Earth. There are no inlets or safe harbors that allow for a ship. Number 7, we are heading to the tops of the Tepuy Mountains in Venezuela. These are called mountains, but they are really more like giant plateaus above the clouds. These colossal plateaus are a major geologic feature that tower
Plateaus that reach the clouds? Wow, that must be tall.
Above the vast expanses of jungle in southern Venezuela. Spanning across hundreds of miles, there are over 6 major zones of these tall sandstone plateaus, with fragmented mesas of varying size. They range anywhere from 2,000 to over 9,000 feet in height, and are completely surrounded by the forest. Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall on Earth, plummets from the very top of one.
Now, okay, that's the best view we'll get from this list so far, or that we've got, and I guess that's probably the only one worth seeing so far. So far, that is. Waterfall, cool.
And nearby is the famous Mount Roraima. As far as I can tell, these are the only 2 tepuis that have trails leading to the top. The others are so remote, steep, and isolated that there exists no trails, no places for humans or aircraft to land, nothing. We know a couple things about the unique environments here. An astonishing volume of endemic species live in the high elevation rainforest, where temps can get surprisingly cold. Also, they have a lot of bizarre geologic formations.
That last formation it showed, that's crazy. And why is there so many holes in the water like that? It's kind of cool.
Along with lakes, caves, and sinkholes that can be seen from space, like this one, called Sima Humboldt. But is it really a sinkhole if it's on the top of a plateau? Or is it just a place where the ground decided to become more normal again?
I don't think it's a sinkhole. I think it's just how it formed, and it's weird. But yeah, that's crazy. Imagine just stumbling upon that. Yeah.
Only 3 scientific expeditions have been made
I see why.
sinkholes, one of which almost cost the team their lives.
Ooh.
And within these sinkholes, they found endemic species, which had evolved separate from the entire world for millions of years. Up there, it must be like humans have never existed, which is a wonderful thought. We are going to take all the reasons these tapuis are impossible to reach and flip it upside down for number 6. Number 6 are the sandstone canyons of central Brazil. This deep canyon system is much like other sandstone canyons found across the world, except these lie under a dense blanket of Amazon rainforest. The long, narrow tendrils extend ridiculous distances into the wilderness,
They look like
far
tree
from
branches.
towns or roads. While there exists almost no information about them online, I would have to assume that the ends of these corridors of stone and jungle are places where no one can get
It's crazy, and I like the design of them.
even close. The sounds of birds, monkeys, and a million organisms packed into these narrow corridors must echo off the canyon walls in a truly amazing way. And these are all just purely the conclusions I have drawn about this place after looking at it from above. The biome extends many miles and encompasses lots of canyons,
Wow.
which is how I spotted them years ago. And since then, I have been borderline obsessed with this place. And I might not have shared it with the world until I went there myself, if not for something I noticed
He went there himself. Cool.
when looking at the latest images updated by Google Earth. As you will learn, this place is rapidly becoming less impossible to reach for all the wrong reasons. First, let me give you some context. There's really only one section called Canyons do Viana where tourists can go now. Nearby, extensive evidence of the ancient indigenous people of Brazil, dating back to over 9,000 years, has been discovered in the forms of rock art, burial sites, and artifacts.
Ancient stuff like that is kind of cool, especially in rock, because it just shows what they were thinking, and yeah. And for it to just become, whatever he said, less of something, it's actually crazy.
Hidden among rock alcoves in the canyon walls. Covering some northern canyons and the flatlands above the canyon rim is the Brazilian Parque Nacional Serra de Confusão, which offers environmental protection. But take a look at the deepest canyons that lie just outside of the national park boundary. Miles of dense jungle that served as barriers to human encroachment into these immense canyons have been stripped away by rapidly intensifying logging operation.
Why would they do that, though? For logging operations, it's like, why can't you get the trees somewhere else?
The change
world's
is quite
big.
stark. It means that whatever has lie hidden from the world in these sandstone alcoves, like endemic organisms, artifacts, and pristine springs, are being flattened beneath the economic development. Number 5 is the summit of Mount Kailash in the China-occupied zone of Tibet. Not one human has ever stood on the top of this over 21,000 foot tall summit.
Well, if it's that tall, then I'm not surprised no one's stepped foot top.
Even though it would be a very achievable climb for an experienced team of mountaineers. Only 3 attempts were ever made in all of recorded history, all of which were unsuccessful and happened before 1950. After that time, no one has even stepped foot onto the base of this mountain, and that is due to a fascinating mix of political and religious reasons. Disclaimer: the following 2 minutes is my personal attempt to simplify something incredibly complex.
Well, good for him. Let's hear it.
Mount Kailash is a deeply sacred mountain to the Hindu, Buddhist, Jainist, and Bon religions of Asia. Each one of these religions has their own variation, but a central idea is that Kailash was identified as the physical manifestation of the sacred Mount Meru. They consider it central to the entire world, home to the gods, and surrounded by 6 other holy mountains, making it a massive representation of a lotus flower. It is considered sacrilegious to even step foot onto the base of the mountain.
That's probably why no one's barely made it, because... Never mind.
But the circular path around the base of the mountain is another matter entirely. For over 2,000 years, devotees from all across Asia have taken long pilgrimages to the mountain, where they will then undergo
What are those
a 32-mile
flags?
journey around the base of the mountain. It is a massive spiritual achievement, sometimes even a crucial step on the path to enlightenment for these religious practitioners, especially the Tiger Way as an act of extreme devotion. They achieved this by lying flat on the ground with arms stretching forwards, marking where the tips of their hands reach, and then standing back up, walking to the mark, laying down again, and repeating the process.
I feel like there's no point to that.
I found this so incredible that I just had to attempt it myself.
Oh, he did it himself? It's cool.
Now, imagine doing that for over 30 miles through
Once again, I still think there's no point.
rain, snow, mud, whatever. It can take up to 6 weeks. It almost seems an impossible feat of itself. But this has been achieved by pilgrims for thousands of years. At least, that was until recently. When
Oh, wait,
China
what?
invaded Western Tibet in the 1950s, they took over control of access to these ancient routes, and slowly over time, exercised this control to squeeze the life out of this holy tradition. It is literally an imprisoned mountain. To stand at the base of it and look to the top, knowing no human has ever stood upon it, would be a truly revelatory experience. Number 4 is an unnamed plateau in the Grand Canyon.
They can just come up with any name at that point and not even name it unnamed.
No one is allowed to visit. It's said Cade, who is said to have found a cave there filled with Egyptian artifacts, who then disappeared. He may or may not have existed in the first place. But there's a lot of stories on the internet of people looking for this cave.
Well, if people are looking for it, some may have found it, but I think he existed potentially.
And in the process, finding entrances sealed up with cement, modern structures where none should belong, or getting chased out of the area by Black Hawk helicopters or planes. Most of these stories
Why would there be helicopters and planes? What? Like patrolling? No point in that.
Substantiated, and you can't believe almost anything on the internet, especially nowadays. But occasionally,
Yeah, he's true about that.
seem to add some semblance of credibility to these stories.
Well, I mean, that's true. He's right about that.
Also, there's quite a lot of geologic features around here named after Egyptian deities, which certainly adds fuel to the fire. There is no official government-established forbidden zone in the Grand Canyon, except for those set aside for environmental or indigenous cave entrances, and undecided on the matter. It makes me want to learn more. Which reminds me that if you enjoy this video, I highly recommend you subscribe to my channel.
And subscribe to my channel. But also, yeah, you should go check this guy out. He's cool.
Check out my other videos, where I find difficult to reach or obscure and historic places, oftentimes using Google Earth, and go explore them in real life.
Oh, wow.
And I have some ideas of more places I want to go see in the Grand Canyon in the near future. For number 3, we are heading to the middle of the Pacific Ocean, to the trailing end of the Hawaiian archipelago, to Ni'ihau Island. Even people who frequently visit Hawaii probably don't know this island exists. To understand this place, we must go back to 1864, when in a strange turn of fate, a Scottish businesswoman, Elizabeth Sinclair, purchased the entire island for $10,000 in gold, which is the equivalent of about $660,000 modern US dollars.
That's a lot for an island? Wow.
A paltry sum.
My bad, that's actually not a lot for an island. I don't know what I'm talking about. Islands are expensive, so yeah. But back then, I don't know.
for obtaining one of the most beautiful tropical islands in the world, on the condition she made with King Kamehameha V that
Is that where they got that from?
Ni'ihau would be kept as a cultural refuge for native Hawaiians and a place to preserve their way of life. This
His name's crazy though. It's actually pretty crazy though. What a name.
led the island down an interesting path, where it has faded from public knowledge, while the opposite happened to the other islands. The wealthy descendants of Elizabeth, the Robinson family, have retained ownership for all these years and have kept this promise alive, as the island has never been developed in any significant way. Instead, they have focused on conservation and ensuring that the generations of Hawaiians who have always lived here can continue to stay if they wish, where they don't have to worry about
Don't have to stay if they wish.
modern problems like rent, taxes, or a lack of food.
They don't gotta worry about lack of food, rent, or taxes? Okay. They're just getting treated like kings over there.
It seems that not even money is used in the day-to-day life of the locals.
To what? What are you using? Toenail clippings? Like what? Or do they not use anything? I don't know what. I guess they don't use anything for money.
The only language spoken here is the native Hawaiian tongue, and apparently traditions carry on much as they did for hundreds of years. Just like all of the Hawaiian Islands, this island has gorgeous tropical mountains and beaches,
It looks like there's one beach and a bunch of mountains.
and a couple dirt roads are the only evidence of humans to be seen across Ni'ihau. But it is an undeniable reality that a wealthy family owns the entirety of the land for which these people are living upon. And of course, that has far-reaching implications and plenty of controversy. The Robinsons enforce strict rules on Ni'ihau. Unless you are Kanaka or of Hawaiian descent, you will almost certainly never be offered a chance to visit this pristine fragment.
This one is it's high on the list because it's easy to reach, but at the same time, there's some good views, I guess.
Of ancient Hawaii. Aside from a boat, I got as close as humanly possible during a trip to Hawaii,
Guess you went to most of these places, but not all of them.
where I gazed across the ocean
Like
at
4.
this island that is so different from all the others. Unfortunately, it appears that change, driven from modern influences, is still having its relentless effect on this island, where once existed a strong populations of hundreds of Kanaka, probably over 600 when Elizabeth bought the island, has slowly dwindled until now. It is estimated that only around 70 Hawaiians remain living here full-time. The lack of opportunity and the irresistible draw of modern life, along with other factors, has led to many natives of Ni'ihau moving to neighboring islands, never to return. That serves as a bottleneck, the Darien Gap. Take a look
Number 2.
at the entirety of the Western Hemisphere and all the vast continents of North and South America. There is one narrow land bridge that serves as a bottleneck between these two massive continents. Nowhere else on Earth does such a small patch of land connect two entire continents. Up until recent times, every single human and terrestrial animal migration that started in one of these continents and ended up in the other would have had to pass through the Darien Gap. And because of that, this thin expanse of jungle is probably one of the most significant corridors in the world when it comes to understanding patterns of human and animal movement.
Oh, I actually heard about this online a couple years ago. Yeah, I know this one that he's talking about, at least.
And just to put it in simple terms, if you wanted to drive your car from the US to anywhere in
Yeah, this was mentioned online as well.
South America, or vice versa, you would imagine there would be lots of highways and roads leading through this section, right? Wrong. This expanse of jungle is one of the most lawless and dangerous places in the entire world. It is almost completely undeveloped and under the control of armed paramilitary groups who are heavily invested in the production of illicit substances.
What?
And the exploitation of the hundreds of thousands of vulnerable refugees.
That's messed up.
who attempt the dangerous journey north every year. Not to mention the hazards of the untamed jungle, like flooding rivers and tropical diseases.
What if you just swim? Oh wait, never mind. That's gonna be a lot of swimming. That does not work.
There are probably places in this gap where communities of locals have lived amongst the old-growth rainforest, and it might be a peaceful place for some, but coming here as an outsider, the Darien Gap. All
Last
right.
one.
Finally, at number 1, we have the Kuril Islands. On the northwestern edge of the Pacific Ring of Fire lies one of the most spectacular and extreme landscapes in the entire world. This archipelago extends in a remarkably straight line over 700 miles from north to south and is a highly active chain of stratovolcanoes, getting older and less volatile as
That's a lot of volcanoes.
it progressed north, and as a result, have some of the most dynamic and stunning landscapes anywhere. When I found out about this place, I almost couldn't believe I'd never heard of it before. There are over
Same with me right now,
major
at least.
islands in total, and each one is unique in its own way, containing massive calderas, hot springs, crystal clear lakes, lush forests, canyons, beaches, ice-capped volcanoes, and everything in between.
We've got a lot of volcanoes, and now this is amazing views, I'll tell you.
But the crowning gem of them all is the Krenetsina volcano. It's hard to imagine a more beautiful place.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
This volcano last erupted in 1952 and is still highly active. along with
1952.
And due to the highly viscous magma, these have a tendency to build up gas underground and erupt in sudden explosions.
So quick explosions, cool.
Which is why so many turned into calderas and look like giant craters. They literally completely blew apart.
Why is there a big hole?
Here's why we can't get there. When you look at the island chain in its entirety, you can see it forms a giant gateway across the Sea of Okhotsk, and therefore
Yeah, between Russia and Japan there.
the eastern coast of mainland Russia. Unsurprisingly, they are a massively important strategic outpost, and Russia has done everything in its power to control them for military purposes. Take a look at where the southernmost
What you can do with it? There's just a bunch of volcanoes in dead space.
island, Kunashir, ends.
Of trees.
Just 12 miles off the coast of Japan's Nemuro Peninsula. The residents of Shibetsu can look, but they can't touch. After World War II, the USSR seized the 4 southern islands from Japan, even though Japan still claimed them as a part of its northern territories. And the issue has prevented a peace treaty between the two countries ever since. Japan considers it an illegal occupation, and Russia has done nothing to ease their concerns by ramping up their military activity and fortification on the islands.
Why?
All of these factors combined
There's just a bunch of
why
islands.
Russia has kept these gorgeous islands completely to itself. With the exception of the powerful class of Russians, some small populations, and the native people known as the Ainu, who are the original inhabitants on the southern islands. However, it is an overstatement to say this entire island chain is impossible to visit. To overly simplify it, it's an incredibly long, expensive, and difficult process,
I see it, and dangerous due to the volcanoes.
even for Russian-born tourists. Only a handful, I'm talking well under 100 foreigners a year, manage to go anywhere near these
I would expect a little more or a little less.
islands, and that is after they obtain Russian visas and find someone on the inside to invite them into the application process. All of this can allow you to really only look at the islands from the boat, not to actually make landfall on the islands, except the southernmost island.
Well, other than the southernmost island, going on boats, still looking at them is probably still cool.
Primarily Kunashir where it is easiest to obtain access. 90% plus of these islands, especially those in the center of the island chain, are completely impossible to reach for every reason under the sun. Prohibitive geography, extreme climate, militarization, and vast distances across a storm-ravaged ocean. Oh, and did I mention that the islands have frequent and powerful earthquakes?
No, but that's another second dangerous reason.
And subsequent
Third, actually.
tsunamis because of the strong
That's four.
tectonic activity, along with quite a lot of brown bears. Areas like Cape Stolbachty.
What are these rock formations? They're cool.
The White Cliffs of Iturup. The White Cliffs of Iturup.
Literally sounds like talking about a volcano. It erupts, huh? It's cool.
And the wild-looking
But it's Iturup.
coastline of Urup.
No, Urup. My bad.
Urup?
So we're gonna change it again?
Urup.
Europe? What?
I give up. Whatever this thing is.
It's just some dude.
This is just a small slice of what's to be found out here. One silver lining of the situation is that the primarily military occupation and lack of development has created a sanctuary for wildlife, especially for marine mammals. This has the added benefit of keeping Japan's terrible whaling practices out of these precious waters. As a surfer, I couldn't go without mentioning that the coastlines here probably hold the last great frontier of undiscovered waves anywhere in the world. Many of these rocky outcroppings could be hiding world-class waves that go unridden day after day. If I had a yacht and I could go anywhere with it, this is probably the first place
Last place I'd go.
I would go. In the beginning of my video, I said it's the strangest and most beautiful coastline in the world. And to back up this claim, I will ask you, can you think of anywhere else in the world where such incredible geology meets such volatile active volcanoes?
No, not the... No. Yeah, just no.
Surrounded by absolutely pristine natural beauty, with almost zero humans around, and a global conflict to top it off? Pretty hard to beat. So I guess the moral of the story here is, if everybody could just chill out, we could go look at more rocks and learn a lot more about the world.
Tough quote.
Once again, if you like this video, I highly recommend you check out my other stuff, where I actually visit the places I have found on Google Earth. As always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.
Yep. Check out in the description his the original video, and yeah, check him out. See you in the next one.